It's been just over 2 weeks since the state of Utah saw its first case of COVID-19. Now the cases skyrocket, with the state seeing its first coronavirus-related death.
We know that his COVID-19 exposure was travel-related. We're not releasing more information than that.
We're live in Bountiful with what we've learned tonight.
Senator Mike Lee is raising an alarm about possible policy changes being discussed by the Justice Department. I'll explain.
Like every day something happens where we had to change something about our already planned wedding, already paid for wedding.
And a local newlywed couple forced to cancel almost everything ahead of their ceremony because of COVID-19. The unique way their loved ones saved the reception in a heartwarming story you'll only see on Fox 13.
Strong south winds, warmer temperatures, indications of storm on the way. When does it get here? I'll let you know.
We begin with breaking news of yet another aftershock, a 3.9 magnitude hitting at 7:17 tonight. Its epicenter was west of the Salt Lake City International Airport. Now, we haven't had any reports of damage or injuries, and this is just one of hundreds of aftershocks that we've had in northern Utah since Wednesday's 5.7 earthquake in Magna. Of course, we'll keep you updated on this on air and over on fox13now.com.
Now to our other top story this evening. For the first time in the state of Utah, someone has died from the novel coronavirus. The patient was a man over the age of 60 who lived in Davis County. Fox 13's Adam Herbetz has been in touch with his family tonight. He's joining us from Lakeview Hospital in Bountiful, where the patient was last treated. Adam.
Well, Brian, Kirsten, this is a man who was over the age of 60 and may have had some health problems. His family members say they want to remember him as more than just a coronavirus patient. They want people to stay safe and they want people to remain calm, even as this disease has turned deadly in the state of Utah.
It is with deep and sincere sadness that we're here to announce our first COVID-19 related death here in Utah. I understand the profound loss you must be feeling, and I wish there was more we could have done to protect your loved one.
Family members say the first person to die from the novel coronavirus in Utah was a family man and a man of God who had only been at Lakeview Hospital 2 days before his life ended. He had been diagnosed with pneumonia several times in the past before he came into contact with the disease from traveling.
We do everything we can to protect the identity of the individual and their family. It's obviously a very hard time for them right now.
Family members say even though it all happened so quickly, they're glad he did not suffer, that God answered their prayers.
I'd also like to thank our staff who did a very good job taking care of this patient. And part of the reason they did such a good job taking care of the patient is due to the family. The family did the right thing. They knew there was an issue. They called ahead, and that allowed us to be even better prepared.
We have not yet identified a positive case of COVID-19 in a healthcare worker.
The Utah Department of Health says they're now in the process of contacting anyone who may have been in contact with this man to see if they may need to be quarantined. In the meantime, they say the big reminder to take away from all this is to please practice what they've been preaching from the beginning. Wash your hands, practice safe social distancing, and limit your exposure. We're live in Bountiful tonight. Adam Herbetz, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Good advice, and our hearts are with his family. Adam, thank you. And here is where we stand with COVID-19 in Utah right now. The Utah Department of Health is reporting 181 cases, with 12 of those being visitors to the state. Salt Lake County now has 80 residential cases and 4 visitor cases. Summit County is facing 43 residential and 7 visitor cases.
Happening now, Utah Congressman Ben McAdams, who just tested positive for COVID-19 on Wednesday, says he is in the hospital being treated for severe shortness of breath. McAdams was put on oxygen in an isolation unit Friday, and after a few days, he is now off of oxygen and expected to be released soon. He says, in part, quote, "My experience has shown me how critical it is to follow the advice of the CDC and the Utah Department of Health in order to stop the spread of this virus." Meantime, Utah Senators Mitt Romney and Mike Lee are now under self-quarantine tonight after coming in close contact with Kentucky Senator Rand Paul, the first U.S. senator to test positive for COVID-19. Both senators say they do not exhibit any symptoms, but that they have been directed by doctors to self-quarantine for 14 days. Both Senator Lee and Romney will not vote on the Senate floor as a result. Senator Lee says doctors did not recommend he be tested for COVID-19. Senator Romney's office says he will take a test.
Today, 6 charter flights brought home 1,500 LDS missionaries, but it wasn't the typical homecoming as loved ones welcomed back the sisters and elders coming home early because of COVID-19. We caught up with 3 missionaries who were serving in the Philippines as they returned to their families at the Salt Lake City International Airport today with bittersweet feelings.
I always heard about how the 6 months are the best, and sad I couldn't finish out the full amount, but I know it's part of the Lord's plan, so I just got to trust it.
It saddens me because as of this time, my heart was somewhere else. I wasn't expecting to come back here, but now that we're here, my heart's here with my family as well.
It's kind of a little bit of a mixed emotion. It's nice to see my family and all, but at the same time, it's really sad to leave the Philippines.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is asking missionaries now to self-isolate for 14 days, regardless of where they traveled from. The church is still calling missionaries to serve in assignments worldwide. However, some have been reassigned due to COVID-19.
As the fight to stop the spread of COVID-19 continues, it's starting to take a toll on ride-share drivers. Drivers in Utah say they are experiencing a significant drop in ride requests as more people practice self-isolation and social distancing. One driver we spoke with, who normally makes about $1,500 a week, only managed to make $600. Now he's trying to reassure riders it's okay to ride with him and other drivers.
We're using the Clorox wipes every ride, cleaning down the seats and, disinfecting as we go.
Meanwhile, both Uber and Lyft say they've made policy changes to help stop the spread of COVID-19. Uber and Lyft are also reminding riders to only travel when absolutely necessary.
A local company is transforming the work that they do because of COVID-19. Not only are they helping hospitals, but they're also adding on employees. Fox 13's Elle Thomas shows us how the business owner is making all of this possible.
At Coleman Knitting Mills in Ogden, Letterman jackets, sweaters, and cheerwear have been the name of the game since 1946.
We service most of the schools in the Wasatch Front, St. George all the way up to Idaho Falls.
But in recent weeks, business concerns spiked as coronavirus spread.
When schools shut down, we kind of went into a lull to where we didn't know what was going to happen.
So
these are our medical gowns that we've been making here at Coleman Knitting Mills.
They got a little creative.
It's a micro suede that we were using for cheer warm-ups.
Taking old supplies.
They're going on through the front.
To create new in-demand products.
And they tie in the back around the neck.
Like hospital gowns.
We took our sweater patterns, basically used the same pattern for a medical gown.
And then they also tie here on the side.
And of course,
these are the masks that we're making.
Masks.
We use polyester material that we were using also for cheer warm-ups.
We actually have a huge contract that we need to do for the University of Utah for face masks.
So it has 2 ties in it as well.
They are able to take their N95 masks, the ones that actually repel viruses and bacteria getting in, and they can put it over it, and it allows them to use that N95 mask more and more.
For those behind the machines, job security.
Everybody's back to full-time work. We've brought on 7 more in-house sewers. We have 35 home sewers right now who are going to be taking masks home and doing the work there.
Now from cheerwear to hospital wear, they're staying in business. All it took was a little ingenuity.
We made it 12 to 14 inches longer.
A pinch of pizzazz.
This is the same trim that we use for cheerleading uniforms.
And a whole lot of spirit.
Well, they're all reusable fabrics.
Elle Thomas, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Don't forget, for all the latest updates on COVID-19 here in our state, you can head over to fox13now.com. You can find our live blog about COVID-19, get updates on cases using our COVID-19 tracker, and find all of the latest stories by clicking on the coronavirus tab.
All right, checking into Mother Nature now, and man, she is keeping us on our toes with those aftershocks. Felt that one tough this afternoon, or tonight, just 7:17. But Breck, you didn't feel it at home?
No, I was on the east bench, didn't quite feel it, but it has been just an unsettling week on a number of reasons, of course, as we've been dealing with the earthquakes, coronavirus, some of us kind of restricting ourselves, getting outdoors, but very cautious. But for today and even yesterday, it's been beautiful weather across the state, plenty of sunshine. as we're going to keep you on your toes weather-wise moving forward towards tomorrow, where we've got some big changes. But let's highlight today, where afternoon highs above normal. We got up to 57 degrees in Salt Lake City, mid-50s in Logan, Ogden as well, low 50s as you can see in Price. Making our way up into the 60s in the Dixie area. As we show you right now, temperatures fairly mild. We've got a few clouds around, 40s for most locations. We're still hanging on to the 50s currently in St. George. Increasing moisture. You can see the clouds moving in across southern Utah. Looking at radar, even just an isolated shower, northern Utah County just near Lehigh, but no concerns in the overnight hours. But we will bring in the clouds, the upper level moisture increasing, but we also increase the chance of seeing precipitation to start off your Monday. When does the rain fall? I'll let you know coming up.
Thanks, Breck. We'll see you soon. In West Jordan, a man is behind bars after he broke into a LensCrafters store at Jordan Landing overnight. Police say a patrol supervisor found the armed burglar after they found a vehicle parked behind the businesses. Investigators say after several hours, they were able to get the burglar to surrender peacefully.
He indicated that there was an accomplice with him, and so we are still here looking to see whether or not we can find another accomplice.
And if you have any information that could help detectives in this case, call West Jordan Police.
In southern Utah, new video coming in tonight showing a rescue operation along Red Mountain. Washington County Sheriff's search and rescue crews say late last night they were called to help a family that got lost trying to get off of Red Mountain and head towards Ivins. The drone flying overhead, as you see here, helped provide some light for rescue workers to get the family to safety. And just some incredible images into our newsroom tonight of an RV fire in Salt Lake City this weekend. Take a look at these. It happened just after 7 last night near 16th West and 17th South. 3 people were hurt, one of them taken to a burn center. Amazingly, firefighters were able to get those flames under control quickly. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Coming up, this week's earthquake did produce some damage. The acts of kindness now being shown as a mobile home park works to rebuild.
Plus, children and COVID-19. How to help them cope with fear and stress during the pandemic. Experts weighing in during tonight's 3 questions. The damage from the earthquake at the Rio Grande Depot could take months to repair. A portion of the roof and some of the walls of the historic building in downtown Salt Lake were damaged in Wednesday's earthquake. Structural engineers say it can reopen to the public after repairs are completed. Until then, state offices in the building will remain closed, along with the Rio Gallery and Research Center. The Rio Grande Cafe will be able to reopen as soon as those COVID-19 dining restrictions are lifted.
Some good coming after the earthquake. People who live at the Western Estates Mobile Home Park in West Valley City are working to get back on their feet after many of the homes there were rocked off of their foundation. This weekend, we're hearing stories of seemingly random acts of kindness to people who live there. One man who lives there returned to his home yesterday, and he says he saw 2 men he didn't know with a trailer load of 2x6s, bottle jacks, and other construction equipment to help people who live there rebuild.
We were all desperate here because we didn't know. This trailer was like the Titanic, and they just 6 hours kept at it. They just said, well, let's try this, let's try that, let's try this. It's the first time it's felt like a community.
That man you heard from had his home worked on today. He says he is concerned about what's next because of the lack of earthquake insurance he and many others have in the Western Estates. But he says actions like what those 2 strangers did this weekend make things a little easier.
Yeah, that earthquake bringing out the good in those people, and as we're seeing a lot of good come from the coronavirus pandemic as well, as one Logan neighborhood is getting creative with interacting during the social distancing. Check this out. A man put up a clothesline, and it doesn't look special at first glance, but people have been putting up messages as a way to keep in touch with each other in this trying time. One neighbor put how they feel blessed during the uncertainty, and another person has even invited neighbors to meet up at certain times to chat from a distance.
Many places around the valley were full of people during the COVID-19 pandemic because of just the seemingly beautiful day. National and state parks saw lines out of the gate as many tried to get fresh air to not go stir crazy. Popular hiking trails and city parks were how many Utahns decided to spend their Sunday. Despite that, we spoke with several people who said that being Despite being outside, they were trying to practice safe social distancing.
Yeah, I don't see big giant groups that are congregating. You know, everybody's keeping at least 6 to 10 feet of distance in front of them. You know, I think this is a good place to be in light of the circumstances right now.
And as we know it, it might be the final day for quite some time to be able to get out and have the nice weather with our storm system moving in. And it looks like this week.
Yeah, Brett
before we know
Colton
it.
in the Weather Center, you've been warning us about this to get the sun in while we can.
Yeah, soak it in, savor it. As we're going to see some changes come tomorrow that will keep us indoors. We'll be feeling that cabin fever, at least up here across northern Utah, hoping to get out sometime during the next 7 days. We'll show you at least the possibility as that 7-day forecast showing you in just a few minutes. But first, as we focus in on today, we got up to 57 degrees, close to where we should be for this time of year. But at mid-70s, feel nice. Nothing like that even close here over the next several days. We're actually heading into the opposite direction, kind of a big cool down as temperatures look to drop into the 40s. That's where we're at right now, upper 40s across the Wasatch Front. Beginning to see some clouds moving in. We enjoyed the sunshine today. Rain, it's on its way. We get a break at least up through the morning hours across northern Utah, but a series of storms will keep active weather going, at least for tomorrow, statewide, so everyone getting into the mix. As we're going to see with this first storm, valley rain mainly, mountain snow. Snow levels dropping down to about 6,500 feet. So this storm coming in from the southwest, warm enough that we're not worried about seeing snowflakes along the valley floors, but there is a chance over the next 7 days. We'll show you that in just a few moments as well. Temperature drop, as mentioned. We're going to be talking about that snow threat. Where the mountains, this is good news. We're building up that snowpack, both for the mountains of northern and southern Utah, where statewide our snowpack situation, we're about where we should be, maybe slightly above normal, but really to make up, as we don't want to move into a further serious drought situation, we need the snow to build up, and this storm and series of storms will help do that. Let me just show you, at least over the next 48 hours, what we're projecting snowfall amounts across the northern mountains, where over the next 24 hours, nothing of great significance, but as we move from Monday night through Tuesday, you can see, wow, close to a foot of snow in Snowbird. Beaver Mountain, extreme northern Utah, also benefiting from the storm. Park City is kind of a 3 to a 6 inch range. Of course, the ski resorts are closed. Maybe some of your backcountry skiers or snowmobilists will take advantage of it, but we also have to look towards the summer, building up those reservoirs. And again, the storm helping out, and we'll see more of that. And that's just showing over the next 48 hours where we expect to see precipitation, not only through Tuesday night, but Wednesday, Thursday as well, Thursday night wrapping up. So from these series of storms, we're talking feet of snow, especially for the northern mountains. Now, right now we're seeing a push of some clouds across southern Utah, an isolated shower kind of north end of Utah County, but we won't see the really active weather until this storm moves closer towards the state. As it is coming from the southwest, it makes an initial hit across southern Utah for tomorrow. Let's talk about the timing of it all. Looking at our computer models, let's move the clock tonight through tomorrow morning. Looks like we're okay traveling throughout most highways, freeways, I-15 all the way down through St. George, we're okay. I-70 as well. It changes though once we move into the noon hour. Central, southwestern Utah, you're getting hit from the storm. We're at least warm enough through the day. It'll be rain in the valley, snow in the mountains. Then we push the moisture towards northern, central, eastern Utah heading into the afternoon. So the afternoon commute, for those that are traveling, we could see some wet roads. Notice though it's green in the valley, snow in the mountains, and then with some cooler air moving in, looks like on Tuesday we'll keep some instability and the possibility of some showers for northern Utah. Central and southern Utah, you're staying dry, but for the north, we'll keep things going throughout most days. Now for tonight, again, increasing clouds, no concerns. The showers hit for northern Utah in the afternoon. It's mainly morning across the south. Now, as we look at your outdoor play forecast, Tuesday, Wednesday, red light. Monday, at least across northern Utah in the morning, you could go outside, but then again, things will change. Now, for southern Utah, it's rain Monday, break Tuesday and Wednesday. We've been changing that just a bit. More rain on Thursday. Nice for the weekend, though. Temperatures climb close to 70 degrees. Northern Utah, rain Tuesday, Wednesday. Rain turning into snow Thursday. That's the snow day, at least in the morning. Then Friday, Saturday, things are moving away. We'll find temperatures returning back into the 50s, but we get a couple of days where it feels a little like winter.
Thank you, Breck. An event that draws thousands of people to Utah postponed. Coming up, The good news to come with it, and when you can break out those extravagant colors.
And COVID-19 crashing weddings. How loved ones saved this Utah couple's reception while still practicing social distancing.
You're watching Fox 13 News. Let's connect.
One of the largest and most colorful spring gatherings in Utah has been postponed. The annual Festival of Colors at the Krishna Temple would have taken place next weekend. Fox 13's Todd Tanner has the story.
We'd like to think of it as the Super Bowl of spirituality.
The annual Holy Festival of Colors brings tens of thousands of people to the grounds of the Krishna Temple in Spanish Fork.
After the barrenness and chill of winter, people get to come out and celebrate renewal, reinvigoration.
Typically, this happens during the last weekend of March.
Higher consciousness, pure music. There are no foul-mouthed DJs, there's no profanity, there's no alcohol.
But this year,
everybody has to do their part to kind of self-isolate.
Roosters and llamas outnumber people on the temple grounds these days.
And I've already paid airfares and deposits for entertainers.
Sharu Das, who heads the big festival and 6 others like it in 3 states, says postponing will come at a heavy cost.
Aside from what we've spent, which we'll never see again, there's the unrealized gain. But, again, from a spiritual perspective, everything's good. We go through periods of our life which could be described as pruning seasons, and then we go through growth seasons. We're all going through a pruning season when things don't go as you would like them to go. In fact, nothing seems to go right. Then the benefit is for you. God's got you on the potter's wheel. He's working you into something, a beautiful piece of art.
The festival is now scheduled to take place on September 19th and 20th.
I think people will still be in that mood of busting out and celebrating renewal. In fact, it could be even more exuberant than it would have been normally.
In the meantime, the temple and the festival grounds here are still open to the public, but only for groups of 10 or less. Todd Tanner, Fox 13 News, Utah.
And even weddings are being impacted right now. Tonight, I spoke with a Utah couple forced to cancel a lot of their plans, but their loved ones saved the reception in a very unique way.
I already had envisioned everything. I'd already pictured how it was all gonna go, and I was starting to get really excited.
But their picture-perfect wedding could no longer be the focus as the COVID-19 pandemic hit hard the week of their ceremony.
Every day something happened where we had to change something about our already planned wedding, already paid for wedding.
The guest list for their ceremony at the Draper LDS Temple went from 70 people down to only 8.
We had to pick and choose what family members we could invite in.
After the ceremony, the couple went home to Harriman for what they thought would be a quiet night in quarantine. But their loved ones surprised them with a unique way to celebrate while also social distancing.
There was a big line of cars lined up on the side of the street, and there's big white bows everywhere and balloons.
A drive-through reception with 70 cars lining the street.
Everybody loved it. They're we don't even have to dress up. This is awesome.
It's fast,
I'm wearing my sweats right now.
The couple even got some unusual wedding gifts, like toilet paper.
It wasn't what we dreamt of or what I had pictured.
Yeah.
But it was really fun.
But it will be memorable.
Yeah, it was.
And we'll have a great story.
They will have a great story. Now, the couple even had to cancel their honeymoon to Disney World, but their advice to others is to look for the good during these chaotic moments.
Still to come, why Utah Senator Mike Lee is sounding off on a recent report regarding emergencies and how they're being handled in Washington.
Live from Fox 13 Studios, this is Fox 13 News at 9.
31,000 people in the U.S. have been diagnosed with COVID-19 and 400 have died from the virus.
The federal government is adding new measures to stop the spread while Congress tries to come up with a relief package to help individuals and business owners. Here's Fox's Christina Coleman.
As coronavirus cases increase, the federal government is taking steps to slow the spread, while Congress works to pass a final version of a stimulus relief bill for those impacted by the virus.
Our goal is to get relief to Americans as quickly as possible so that families can get by and small businesses can keep workers on the payroll.
President Trump announcing New York, California, and Washington, the hardest hit states, will get assistance from the National Guard at the direction of each state's governor.
Through FEMA, the federal government will be funding 100% of the cost of deploying National Guard units to carry out approved missions.
Vice President Mike Pence saying medical supplies and testing maintain top priorities, adding the FDA is working on coming up with faster and more innovative testing.
We're going to continue to make sure that our states have what they need to meet this moment.
Meanwhile, on Capitol Hill, senators cast their procedural vote on the coronavirus stimulus bill. The Senate voting along party lines, blocking the measure.
The motion is not agreed to.
The legislation has many problems. At the top of the list, it includes a large corporate bailout.
This just hours after Kentucky Senator Rand Paul announced he tested positive for COVID-19, and others decided to self-quarantine and get tested.
Of course, all the senators are going to seek medical advice as to what action we should take to make sure that we don't in any way spread this virus ourselves.
What's next for the stimulus relief bill remains up in the air. On Sunday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the House will be introducing their own draft bill. In Los Angeles, Christina Coleman, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Senator Mike Lee now sounding an alarm about a recent report that found the Department of Justice is hoping to gain emergency powers.
This all comes as he is in self-quarantine over COVID-19 concerns himself. Fox 13's John Franke is in Salt Lake City with the senator's response.
As the COVID-19 pandemic continues, it seems the world around us is evolving at light speed. A recent report by Politico outlined several policy changes being discussed for times of crisis. But Utah Senator Mike Lee says the policies being discussed must remain unchanged. These 4 words were all Senator Mike Lee needed to make his point. "Over my dead body," he wrote in all caps. His tweet sent Saturday evening linked to this article from Politico. The report details requests by the Trump administration's Department of Justice. According to the article, the Justice Department has quietly asked Congress for the ability to ask chief justices to detain people indefinitely without trial during emergencies. That was enough to trigger Lee's response. He sent a series of tweets. One said, "If this is a joke, it's not funny." Another added, "If it's not a joke, we've got much bigger problems." And a third asking President Trump to refute and disavow this immediately. I reached out to Senator Lee, and he sent us this statement. It says in part, quote, "Of all the things Americans need to worry about right now, further diminishing their civil liberties shouldn't be one of them." He added, "I was mortified by the thought that someone would joke about something so serious. I was even more distressed as I realized that this was very, very serious." Senator Lee is not alone in his opposition to this. In fact, several lawmakers from both sides of the aisle have expressed their displeasure. That includes GOP Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky. He says this is how your liberty dies. Stand up, America, and resist. In Salt Lake City, John Franke, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still ahead, how do you help children understand what is going on with the world right now with COVID-19? Fox 13's Bob Evans talks with a child psychologist about that in this week's 3 Questions.
Coming up in sports, we'll hear from RSL's new forward, Giuseppe Rossi, and Utah running back Zach Moss, who held a private workout yesterday as he gets ready for the NFL Draft. Well, the NFL Draft is still scheduled to start on April 23rd, and it could be a big draft for the University of Utah. Running back Zach Moss is one of several Utes expected to hear their name called on the 2020 draft. With Utah's Pro Day canceled, Moss held a private workout yesterday, ran a 4.52 in the 40-yard dash, which is lower than the 4.65 he ran at the NFL Combine. Like everyone in their athletic adventures right now, Moss is dealing with the outbreak of COVID-19, but the Utes' all-time leading rusher is not letting it slow him down.
It really hasn't affected me tremendously. And how I feel or what it's going to do into the impacting the NFL dream and things like that. I'm still going to be very, very grateful the day that I hear my name called. I figure out where I'm going to spend the next couple of years of my life and play the game that I love, with new teammates. I'm still looking forward to that day. Everything else in the midst is just, it's trials and tribulations pretty much. So, it hasn't really affected me much at all.
Major League Soccer has suspended their season until at least May 10th, so it'll be a while before we see Real Salt Lake and their new striker, Giuseppe Rossi, who spent the last 16 years playing professionally with one of the top clubs in Europe.
Yeah, definitely there is a lot of expectation. I totally understand that, but I'm very confident in myself. I know what I'm capable of doing. I know what I'm capable of giving to the team. So that extra pressure does not scare me at all. I'm just very eager to be out there and just being in my natural habitat, which is in a stadium and you know, just playing soccer.
How do you feel your game is now compared to when you were that 17-year-old kid out on the pitch at Manchester United?
Yeah, I mean, you grow as a player. All these new experiences help you grow and get better. And I've had, you know, the luck to play with, you know, the best players in the world, to be coached by some of the best. So I'm very fortunate to have had those people around me to, you know, just to help me better my game.
We'll hear more from Rossi coming up tonight at 9 on the Fox 13 Sports page. We'll also hear more from Utah running back Zach Moss as he gets ready for the NFL Draft, plus more on the Jazz and COVID-19. How is Jazz beat writer Sarah Todd dealing with the quarantine? And the BYU men's volleyball team missing out on a shot to win a national title.
Well, after the break, of course, we'll be looking at weather forecast. Want to share a photo from a viewer, Michael Bowman, up in Big Cottonwood Canyon. Fresh tracks in the snow. Last week, they picked up over a foot of snow. This week, more feet of snow we're talking about. But could we see snow in the valleys? Will we have to break out those shovels? We'll let you know again after the break. All right, want to show you one more view of the weather we experienced today, because it's going to be a few more days before we'll experience this type of weather where we see a lot of blue skies and temperatures fairly mild, as we're going to see those changes with the storms moving in starting tomorrow. Now, southern Utah, you'll see better weather sooner than what we're going to find across northern Utah. No, it's going to be a wet week along the Wasatch Front, valleys and mountains. Here we go. Now, currently, we're looking at mostly clear skies throughout the Salt Lake Valley. Temperatures in the upper 40s, winds light. Expect to see increasing clouds where tomorrow morning we're waking up to mostly cloudy skies. Then the rain hits. Where are we looking at precipitation come tomorrow? As I mentioned, mainly rain in the valleys, snow in the mountains, as we'll see snow levels dropping down to about 6,500 feet. Now let's look at the timing of this all. By tomorrow morning, not much going on. Maybe over the mountains, we don't see the precipitation across the state until the afternoon. As you can see, it's spreading all across southern into northern, eastern Utah as well by Monday night. And then additional precipitation continues to fall across northern Utah as we go into Tuesday, and not only Tuesday, but Wednesday as well. Now, as I mentioned, with this storm coming in from the southwest, that's the first storm, as it will bring the rain. It could be heavy at times, but there is a point that we need to talk about, maybe seeing some snowflakes and snow showers across northern Utah over the next 7 days. But let's first look at what's going on towards southern Utah right now. Again, increasing that upper level moisture. We're starting to see the clouds. It's pushing towards northern Utah. There's where we're talking about the shower threat. Again, tracking through here. As by tomorrow afternoon, things really get going. Now, here's your hour-by-hour forecast for the Wasatch Front. No concerns tonight. Waking up, as I mentioned, mostly cloudy skies. Overnight lows don't get too cold, and throughout the morning, you're good to go as far as we're not worried about seeing wet weather. So if you have any morning plans to be outdoors, doing that morning walk, morning jog, bike ride, looks like we'll be finding temperatures in the 40s, close to 50 degrees. Not too bad, but in the afternoon, you're making your plans, at least trying to indoors, as it's going to be a wet one. So the forecast then for tomorrow, as we're not going to be changing up temperatures initially. 50s once again. Temperatures very similar to what we found today. But again, we're going to have to contend with the rain throughout the afternoon, both across northern, central, into southern Utah, and even across eastern Utah later throughout the day. So you can see all across the map, I bring in the showers. And for southern Utah, we're going to be looking at upper 50s with that rain. For tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday, partly cloudy skies. Now, last night we thought we might see a little bit of lingering showers into Tuesday, maybe even late Wednesday. Improvements, though, where we divide the state in half. Southern Utah, you're good by the middle of the week. However, more rain expected by Thursday with upper 50s. Friday's partly cloudy skies, and into the weekend, we start pushing away the clouds. We start bringing warmer temperatures. How about afternoon highs close to 70 degrees by Sunday? Northern Utah, here we go. Rainy days and Mondays always get you down. Let's not let it get us down. We have too many things to worry about. We need the moisture. We're going to get it. Good for the snowpack. Tuesday and Wednesday, snow continues to fall in the mountains. It builds up. We'll keep the snow away up until Thursday morning. Now, look at those overnight lows. Close to freezing. Snow will be falling, accumulating. I don't think so. On the grassy surface for the benches, but I don't think we'll be doing any shoveling. Good news, though, we're talking feet of snow in the mountains, and then it pushes away just in time for the weekend. Temperatures return back into the 50s, mid to upper 50s by Sunday. So weather that we saw today, it comes back. We're just going to have to wait about 5 or 6 days.
We've heard a lot about how deadly COVID-19 can be, and an incredible amount of effort is underway to protect those most vulnerable. But there are others being affected by the coronavirus pandemic who may not understand exactly what's happening, but can certainly sense the fear. I kept my social distance when I sat down with child psychologist Doug Goldsmith and asked him 3 questions. What about the idea that fear can actually be a good thing to a degree, especially when there is so much at stake?
Well, I think the children's fear is actually starting to subside just a little bit as they're starting to hear the children are not going to be affected, but now they're worried about the adults in their world. They're worried about grandma and grandpa getting sick, which is legitimate. So a lot of information needs to be done to help them understand realistically what's going to happen. One of the mistakes parents make that causes the fear to actually escalate is we try to be protective. We don't want our children upset. But in this kind of situation, they need to say, yes, people are going to die. Yes, very old people are going to die, and that's why we're going to take care of ourselves so we don't pass it on and make other people sick.
What are some of the signs that parents should watch for in children that may not be handling the stress and the strangeness of this coronavirus pandemic very well? And once they identify those signs, what do they do about them?
That's a really important question. One of the things that I think parents can do that is most helpful is to say to the children, we are going to be fully honest with you. If we find out that you're not going back to school, we're going to tell you right away. If we find out that we're having to stay in the house longer, we're going to tell you right away. And most important, if grandma and grandpa get sick or mom and dad are sick, we are going to let you know. We're not going to keep that secret. So you don't have to be watching and wondering, because if we haven't told you, everybody is fine. That can really put their minds to ease. But highly anxious children are highly anxious about everything, and their minds tend to become irrational and blow it out of control. If they stop eating, if it looks like they're washing their hands too much because they're now frightened, if it looks like they're changing their routines or making some unusual behaviors, some of the kids will create rituals that don't make sense. They may start to go into the bathroom and need to turn on and off the sink 10 times before they can leave the bathroom. Those kinds of obsessive behaviors, all of those kinds of things would warrant reaching out and getting help. In addition, changes in appetite, changes in sleep, an inability to sleep, or a lot of new worries that are coming up in their discussion, those kids may need help.
Children process traumatic events in different ways. What can we as adults learn from them?
Well, I think we need to appreciate when they are using humor. I think we need to appreciate that their lives go on, and it's our responsibility to help them go on unencumbered by the daily stress. We need to find ways to even, make light of some of these new processes about what can we do in the house. Maybe we pretend we have, a camp in the house. And maybe we pretend that we're having a sleepover in the house and the whole family sleeps in the living room. We need to get more creative to find the bright spot and help kids see that this can actually be fun. Maybe we can even cook marshmallows over the stove. Parents are going to have to be creative and clever through this. And they're going to have to be brave, and they're going to have to reassure the children that things are going to be okay. This isn't going to last forever.
Dr. Doug Goldsmith, child and family psychologist, thank you so much for being part of 3 Questions.
Just into our newsroom, State Senator Luz Escamilla has tested positive for COVID-19. She's the first state legislator to test positive for the virus. She just sent a statement tonight saying she started experiencing symptoms Friday evening. She says herself and her family are in self-quarantine. She says this diagnosis is scary for her because she has asthma. However, she says she hopes to make a full recovery. Our thoughts are with State Senator Escamilla and the Escamilla family tonight.
Also happening during our newscast tonight, Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox disappointed after seeing the crowds at the Salt Lake City International Airport today. This as loved ones welcomed home hundreds of LDS missionaries returning to Utah. We had that story early in our newscast. Lieutenant Governor Cox says that he gets it, that he's been there. He even has missionaries serving, but that being so close in such a large group was unacceptable, saying that now is a time of shared sacrifice and that we must do better to save lives.
Finally on Fox 13, Provo's mayor receiving praise on Twitter for being a good Samaritan. Mayor Michelle Kaufusi reportedly helping to drive a woman named Tessa to the hospital after she found the woman hurt her knee along the Bonneville Shoreline Trail. This was during her morning run on Saturday. Of course, we love the effort here and congratulate Mayor Kaufusi and wish Tessa well soon. So that's called stepping in right when you see something there. I mean, that's a fight or flight sort of thing.
Awesome. Amazing that she did that, and a great weekend to get out as well.
Right. Well, because those things are going to be changing. Just be aware of it. Rain on the way. We had a good weekend, though.
Thank you, Breck. Thanks for watching Fox 13 News at 9.
Of course, QuickCast is coming up next, and don't go anywhere because Sports Page is also still ahead. Have a good night.